let's go. So grab your angled knife, whichever one you got, but it should have an angle here. What we're going to do, this is really fun because we're just gonna smoosh our paints now. So you're gonna take your paints and smoosh them. As you smoosh them, think about turning them into little trees. So as you smush it, the tip of your palette knife, you can smush your paint up so it turns into a tree. And then as you get to your next color, you don't have, this is the best part, you don't have to clean off your palette knife or anything. You can just smush into the next color, and then those two colors are gonna just mix because you have that other paint on there and kind of make different shapes of trees. If you still have like a lot of paint here, that's okay, because we're gonna be doing some scraping after we do smushing. So first, just zone out and smush paint. You guys have probably been like studying for tests and have a bunch of projects due for other. If your paint isn't perfectly even in a row, that's okay, you can kind of smush it around. Again, leave the paint on your palette knife and just keep smushing. And hopefully the colors that you picked out are gonna go well next to each other. Uh-oh, those two look too similar. Let's make them different. Okay. Go to your next color, smoosh it. I don't really like that light green and the yellow next to each other. I'm not gonna do that again, but you know, that's how we learn. And just keep going. You're pretty much going from left to right. And hey, you know, you might have a little extra paint from like another color. That's okay. They can smush together. This is also how you see what colors you like that go together. And maybe it lets you know which colors you don't want to mix. There you go. Now we're going to clean off our knife. If you have the rag, you can fold your rag and just put it underneath one of the folds like we did on the technique day. If you missed the technique day, we just folded our rag up and then that lets us wipe our knife off. Or if you have a paper towel, you can just wipe it on your paper towel. Knives are really fun to paint with because they're so easy to clean. All right, now, after you've got your smooshing down, you're gonna drag it. So you're gonna grab some paint with just the edge of your brush, kind of angle your brush at a 45, and you're gonna drag the paint down. Shh. And then we gotta clean off our brush after each one of these. I mean our palette knife. So drag it, wipe it off, drag it. The cool thing about the cardboard is you get like this corrugation in there, and it creates kind of some inconsistencies, but that helps it look more like water. This is sort of an abstract painting day, so things aren't supposed to look super realistic. If you'd like to drag it off the edge of your cardboard, you could. These are just supposed to be fun way to experiment with palette knife painting. Cool. So now we've got some trees. We've dragged our trees down, but it's hard to tell that this is water, so we're gonna grab some white, or if you don't have white, you could grab a light color. So you could grab silver, you could grab a light purple. Ooh, here's a nice light blue. And I'm just gonna squirt the paint directly on my palette knife, less stuff to clean. And then just like we did those little knife things with Techniques 1.0, we're just gonna do some little knife slices to make up our water. Now pay attention to the pigment that's on your knife. Just put your white or a light color. So silver could work, a light blue or a light purple could work.
So we spread it like this? Where do we put it on our brush at?
You're putting it on your knife, and see how I'm just squeezing it straight on there? You're just gonna squeeze it carefully straight on there, kind of like putting toothpaste on a toothbrush. And then we're just gonna slice our paint. Pay attention again to the pigment that's on your knife. And if you need to reload it, just reload it with some paint. The last finishing touch you're gonna do is take black or Pines Gray. I'll go into the back and grab some more paints. No. Sorry.
So after you do the spreading?
After we do the spreading, we're just gonna drag. We drag some white or a light tone down below. And now we're going to drag some black just for a horizon line, and you're done. In your butter knife one, whichever one that is, we are going to take a little bit of blue, put it straight on there.
What are we doing? Oh, just start to get more cardboard.
Put your white above your blue. If it's not, just spin your cardboard. Yeah, we got white on there, we got blue on there. Take your whites and just drag it up towards the top. Yeah, we're using the one that's kind of like a butter knife. So either this one or this one. Doesn't matter. I just want you guys to get experience in both so that you can eventually be like, oh, this is my favorite. Or this is not my favorite. But you got to use both to figure out what your favorite is. So spread your white on the top, and then whatever white's left over, you're going to mix in with your blue. Whee! I thought I gave you a white. So we spread our white up at the top. And now whatever white's left on your palette knife, mix it. Hopefully it's fun just watching paint mix. You don't have to mix it all the way. You can have it have some tonal value to it. So spread it around. And you can conserve paint and clean off your palette knife easier just by scraping it on the edge of your cardboard. Hey. So you've got like a half white, half blue painted cardboard. We're going to set our palette knife, well, we're going to clean our palette knife off first. And then once you get that all done, we're going to set this off to the side. We're going to come back to this one. We got to let that dry. It's spread around your blue. And it's okay if your blue and your white mix into each other. That's fine. It's all
What do
good.
you do with the white that was on the thing?
Use it to mix it with the blue.
Wait, did we not need to wipe off the...
Well, you didn't have to wipe off your palette knife. If you did, that's okay.
Do I spread the blue?
Yeah. No, it's okay if it's uneven. That provides a texture for it. Kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. If you want to like slice some stuff into it, you can. The next one we're going to do, so if you're done with the white and blue, here's our next one. You can kind of start gearing up for it. So pick out some green.
Oh, same cardboard or?
New cardboard. We gotta let this dry for a little bit. Some orange, some yellow, and if there's any purple left, man, 5th period is not gonna have purple today. Sad for them. Yeah, just let the blue and the white one dry, and then grab your other cardboard. We're gonna do this. So you're gonna need orange, yellow, green. And if I had purple, I'd grab it, but I've got red, so I'm gonna roll with the red. So we're gonna start with green, and we're gonna start with our angled knife. So we're gonna make 2 dots on our cardboard, and they're gonna emulate where these start. So we're gonna do 2 dots down at the bottom for our stems. Bless you. Of green. These are not going to be as big as the dots we did on that landscape tree one. Just kind of the size more of your finger. My paint kind of burped. Yeah, I want a different one. We're going to let the blue and the white dry. So that's off to the side. So now we've got, yeah, pick a green. If you have a turquoise, that's fine. So put 2 dots of green. And then what you're going to do is you're going to drag these up so they look like a stem. And play around with dragging it. You might need to turn your knife a little bit to drag it. You might need to take your knife and smoosh it and then drag it. Figure out what's going to work best for you. You might have to do like some little knifey chops. Ooh, that worked pretty well. So these are your stems. And I'm going to add a 3rd one in there. You still probably have some...
The same green with different colors.
This is the same green. If you have different greens, you're welcome to use a couple different ones.
Can I get a different cardboard?
Yeah, go for it. Help yourself. There's plenty of cardboard. You can toss the one that didn't work. If you have these little blobs of paint off to the side, we're going to turn those blobs of paint into leaves. So all you gotta do is take your palette knife and smoosh that blob. Hey, that's a pretty nice leaf. Just pay attention to how hard you're pressing your palette knife down. You might have to angle it a little bit. There we go. And angle it a little bit. Bam, got some leaves. And you can put the leaves wherever you want, wherever your paint is like extra thick and you're like, oh, I need a leaf there. Just add a couple leaves. And if you want to go for the extra, you can carve in with your palette knife. Make like a straight line. And carve in the detail of the leaf. If at any point you realize you need a little extra paint, you can always squirt some extra paint on your cardboard. That's okay. And if it's not slicing, maybe you need to load some paint on the edge of your knife like we did with the white on the first one. So we've got some stems there. We're going to clean off our green from our palette knife. You should have at least 2 or 3 stems and a couple leaves. Yeah, 2 or 3. So if you only got 1 stem, that means you're only going to have 1 flower. That'd be kind of sad. So after you have your stems, we're going to squirt some paint right above our stems because we're going to make our flowers. So, take a little bit of paint, squirt it. Oh, sorry, orange. Take orange, squirt a little bit on one stem, a little bit on the other, a little bit. So just a little squirt, nothing crazy. And then we're going to add a color to each one of the oranges. So I'm going to add yellow to one of my oranges. I'm going to add red to one of my oranges. And I'll see if this purple has anything left in it. Again, the really nice thing about palette knife painting is we're just squirting our paint straight on our cardboard. We have way less cleanup. If you guys need a purple, there's a purple. Alright, now what we're going to do is taking our angled knife again, we're going to smush this paint around. So, we're going to smush it once, kind of pointing up. And then we're going to drag it. You can see these little drag marks, so it sort of drags into a petal. So your first one, I just did red and orange and yellow, and then orange, and that's a purple, but it might come up blue on the document camera. And then you're just going to smush it into petal shapes. And drag it into petal shapes. I'll do one more. I'm not liking this. I'm going to make an adjustment. Okay. So all you do is to start out with a clean palette knife, do one smush, kind of rock it, psh, and then that's your initial paint mixing. And then you're going to drag it, psh, 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 and you can kind of scrape it at the same time. You're going for abstract. These aren't super realistic flowers. Then scrape your palette knife off again, and then smush the next one, and then scrape them. The last finishing touch on your flowers is you're just going to put something on the inside. So, for example, I'm just going to put a little dollop of yellow, another little dollop of yellow, another little dollop of yellow. And then you can just kind of mix it in there. Make a little swirly. And there you go. Those are your flowers. Again, it's abstract. It's not supposed to be super realistic. goodness, some of y'all are being really judgy. Be kind to yourself. And then that's it. That's your flowers. Your angled knife. You're going to... I just do 2. If you want to do more than 2, you're welcome to, though. At least do 2 so you're not limiting yourself. All right, we're taking our yellow and we're loading it up on the edge of our knife. The angled one, yep. And then we're gonna do slices to make our grass. So you're just gonna slice in with your yellow. If your yellow and your blue mixes to make green, that's great. If it doesn't, that's fine. If your blue's already dry, no worries. You just have the yellow looking grass. If your blue is still wet, then you can mix it and make green. So we're just cutting into it. Once you run out of yellow, load some more yellow up on your palette knife and go back to more slicing.
Wait, so we put the yellow on our palette?
Yeah, just like kind of spread it right on the edge of your palette knife. That's okay. It's going to mix and make green. And grass is green, right? Sometimes. Sometimes grass is yellow. So either way, it totally works out. Just like we did with our trees, try to be sporadic. Don't try to make a straight, perfect line of grass. Have it be uneven. The more you slice through your yellow and your blue, the more it'll probably mix. If yours is dry, then it probably won't mix. That's okay. You can have yellow grass. If you really want green grass, you could add a little bit of green paint to your yellow. Now what we're going to do is after you've got your grass, there's a lot of side talking. Hopefully you guys can hear.
Do you want me to do it all the way to the bottom?
Yeah, you're welcome to. Or you can go uneven. Add little bits of color to the top of your grass. Just squirt it straight on there. Your color for your flowers. So you can pick whatever color you want. I'm going with red and orange because it's going to be less likely to mix in with the colors I picked in a bad way. But purple would be great too. Yellow could work, but you've already got a lot of yellow on your page, so it might lack some variety. If you had a darker blue than your actual blue, that could be interesting too. You could leave your little dollops like that, or you could do a couple options with your flowers. You could do swirlies, and they might look like little poppies. You could scrape your flowers into a tulip-esque shape. Ooh. And you can leave the paint on your palette knife as long as the 2 colors you picked out, or maybe 3 or 4, mix well together. Or if you want to do a combination of some tulips and some poppies, or if you have another idea for a flower, great time to just test it out and experiment. We're just you could add some more to another part of your painting, so kind of like scoop it up and dollop it somewhere else. That would work. Or if you just wanted to like scrape it a little bit off and wipe it on your paper towel, you could do that too. And now you've got your flowers. Taking any colors you want. So no color restrictions. Pick at least 4, and you're just gonna put them in the corners. You don't need a ton of color for this one, like finger size. Try to use colors you haven't used yet. Change it up, make it different.
What?
Yeah, put a little puddle in the middle. You're just going to scrape your colors into the water and then mix them. Scrape your colors in, mix them. I want you to see what happens. It's gross. You picked gross colors. What happened? And then pull your water around. Some people are going to get some really neat swirls out of this.
How many colors do we put on?
4, so 1 for each corner. Just drag it into your water and spread it around. These actually dry really cool. If you have an excessive amount of water, like I do, oh, add some more then. You could dab it with your paper towel. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I got way too much. It's gonna run everywhere. There we go. You could scrape into this in sections. If you want to write something, you could. If you just want to make lines. Or if you'd like to smush your paint around. We're just going for something abstract. So just try to go for a mood or a feeling.